This is probably the hardest one to be at all specific about, but who would you count among your own musical influences, either one of you?
Robbie.
I mentioned Jerry Lee Lewis
before, and Bob Dyload, Elmer Schlutz, Bill Organ. No, my influences go back to Little Richard, Jerry Lewis, Bill Haley, all the rock and roll thing, and then Tamla Motown.
What I don't understand is how you could have been exposed to that. See that?
Well, I'm 23 years old and getting on. I can remember my mother brought in the first sort of 78 I used to listen to things like Bonnie Lou and the Tennessee Wigwam. That's how far I go back. And Guy Mitchell and Frankie Lane, those are the first 78s that I really listened to. K-Star, Wheel of Fortune, how about that? So the first two, I can remember my mother coming back with ABC Boogie in one hand and Heartbreak Hotel in another hand, and she fell over the step and broke them. No, they're on 78, and they really turned me on, and she was very excited about it as well, because my parents are sort of my mother especially is sort of quite modern thinking in music, and that exposed me to rock and roll, and then I got into the Little Richard, Eddie Cochran, Buddy Holly thing, and Jerry Lee Lewis, and then I went from that to soul music, Otis Redding, Irma Franklin, Aretha Franklin, people like that, and Motown, and now my tastes are sort of, I like everything. I think the only thing I really haven't got in my collection is middle-of-the-road stuff, Engelbert Humperdinck type stuff, and traditional jazz, but I've got everything from Tibetan monks playing the gong backwards to Led Zeppelin and things like that. Motown's been a big influence on me. I love Motown records and also the early Atlantic stuff. You have to listen. We listen to everything that comes out. Really, we have an import record shop in London, and we go and listen to practically everything that comes out. You have to, because otherwise, people, some people will never get heard if they,
It's got a good beat and you can dance to it. I give it a 9.
If you can do 3/4 time and a 7/8 section, you really know stuff.
Bernie, you picked this next selection. Would you like to play DJ for a minute and introduce it?
It's just that I like it.
What introduce it? Tell the public what it is.
It's Jesse Winchester, Brand New Tennessee Waltz.
That's Jesse Winchester, picked and programmed for you by Bernie Taupin. Brand New Tennessee Waltz from his solo album. It's 3 minutes before 10 o'clock, and I really, literally can't believe that. You just begin to cover territory and your time runs out. That seems to be the way it goes. I would like to ask you quickly about the new album, Elton. When is it due? When did you finish it?
It's been finished for quite some time. It was recorded over a period of time, whereas the other one was in a set space of time. It'll be out in January. About the first, as soon as it can come out in January, it'll be out. We didn't release it before because the earliest it could have been released over here would have been about the second week in December, which is useless because of the Christmas thing.
Yeah.
So you just decided, it's out in England in 2 weeks' time, so obviously people are imported. It's called Tumbleweed Connection, and it's far different from this last album. It's only 3 tracks with strings on it, and even they're on funky, some of the things are on funky things. It's mostly a funky type album and a quiet album. I'm very pleased with it. The sound is 100% better, and I think people will like it because it's different. We couldn't have done another album like that one. So basically, it's just a funky thing.
I noticed that you can really see the changes in Paul Simon's life according to the material that he recorded before being part of the phenomenon known as Simon and Garfunkel and afterward. Are you finding, Bernie, that the lyrical content of your songs is different now as a result of the things that have happened to you in the last year?
The thing is that, the next album is kind of like songs that were written about a year ago. And during the last year, we haven't written as much as we kind of did, say, a year ago, because we've got so much to do, and we've been doing so much in the last year. It's just kind of cut down on the whole thing. But I think kind of the experience of kind of travelling, will change the kind of content a lot.
The lyrics are much simpler.
Yeah.
They're getting simpler all the time.
Yeah, right.
That's important.
Yeah, I find that you can say so much in very short kind of passages by being very simple and kind of stretching the whole thing out and kind of making it very complicated.
Well, if the public response to the kinds of things you're doing is any indication, that is just where music seems to be at as we enter the 70s. I really hate to do this.
Buy the Redbone album. Yeah, I had to sneak it in somewhere.
Alright, no problem.
Buy the Redbone album.
Our audience will get the chance to see you at the film later on this month, and they would be missing a treat if they were not in attendance.
Missing a meat.
Thank you both very much for coming by.
Thank you. Let's just say goodbye.
Thank you, Pete. Thank you, Pete. Oh.
That's Elton John and Bernie Taupin. Pete Fornatale back tomorrow between 6 a.m. and 10. Jonathan Schwartz is next over WNEW FM, Metro Media Stereo.
WNEW FM.